This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by Michael Conlan over Zoom. Mick, how you doing?
All good, Andy, mate. All good. Good to speak to you.
You too, mate. It's good to catch up. Just before we do come on to what's coming up for yourself, let's just go backwards. Obviously, your most recent victory against TJ Doheny at Falls Park. Just to reflect on it for me, Mick. Yeah, just take me back to your performance, your win. How would you assess it now?
Yeah, I thought it was a great performance against a guy who was obviously coming to win, former world champion. Very very accomplished fighter, and a road warrior at that. At the same time, he's been on the road in many people's backyards and done the job. So TJ came. He put on a good performance, but I thought I boxed very well, and I was unlucky not to get him out of there in the fifth, but he showed his toughness and his character, and kept battling on till the end. But yeah, I was really happy with the performance. The night itself was, one of the best nights of my life. The atmosphere, I don't think you can get it anywhere in the world. Even watching Warrington and stuff last night, I think Belfast is just a different animal when it comes to the atmosphere. I think it's real, and if you haven't experienced it, you need to experience it.
It's something I was literally about to ask you about, boxing back in Belfast at Falls Park after what's been a very difficult, probably 18 months or so for everyone, for yourself
Yeah.
to come back to Belfast and have that fight. What did it mean to you, and how would you sum up that atmosphere?
For me, boxing in the park itself, anyway, just means the world because that's my local park. That's where I grew up. That's where I had many fights as a kid where I wasn't being paid, and I have fought there twice and got paid both times. So, yeah, the fight there's just special. It's the heart of West Belfast, a West Belfast festival with Phelan football. So, for me to do it is unbelievable. But obviously, after what's happened over the last 18 months, the pandemic stuff, and there was less fans there because of COVID. There was 8,000 fans or 10,000 the last time, but I think this time was even better because you could tell how much people enjoyed it, how much people needed it, and you could see that on the night. And I was just honored and very grateful I was able to do it for my own people.
On the back of that win, Mick, it's obviously set up a bout with Leigh Wood, the WBA ordering yourself
Yep.
versus Leigh. Uh, Firstly, what did you make of that announcement that they made?
Yeah, I was delighted. I was interim champion, and I was told soon after winning the belt they were scrapping the belt, but I would be mandatory for Leigh Wood. So that's no problem. If that's the case, I don't mind scrapping the belt, scrap it, because boxing does need less belts. I agree. And the fact that now I can face the champion and Leigh Wood, who in my opinion is the super champion. Leo Santa Cruz hasn't boxed in so long, a featherweight, and I think Leigh should be super champion, especially after his last performance against Kanzu. So, yeah, I was delighted. I'm looking forward to it. I know that negotiations are ongoing at the minute, and once that's kind of set in the pipeline and we know when the date is, I'll be very, very excited.
Just on Leigh, obviously you mentioned his last victory against Zhu Can. What did you make of his performance in that?
I thought he was fantastic. I actually wished him luck. I've never really spoke to Leigh, but I knew that people were going against him, so I just sent him a good luck message to start of that week, and he replied, saying thanks, Mick, and stuff. But yeah, I was delighted for him. A great performance against the odds. Zhu Khan coming to, obviously the pandemic and stuff had affected him being inactive, and you could see that kind of in there. But Leigh stuck to his tactics brilliantly, showed his variation of punch output and punch power. So yeah, I thought it was a great performance, a very very complete performance.
A bout between you two when things are finalised and sorted and you have a date to work towards, Mick.
Yeah.
What would you expect from it? How good of a fight can this be for the rest of the UK?
Yeah, I think it's a massive fight. I think when it's came out of the blue, people were going, "Fuck, I didn't expect that." But now it's been said, I want to see that, and that's what kind of fight it is. I know Leigh's a very confident kind of guy. Believes he could punch through walls, and and stuff. So he's obviously going to be very confident. I'm very very confident, and it's a fight I really really like. I don't think I need to say anything negative about the guy. He seems like a nice guy, a good fighter. But someone I know I will beat, and they'll be very very confident in doing so.
Mick, obviously, the winner for you versus Leigh, it's the WBA also said will be ordered then to face Leo Santa Cruz. Do you expect him
Yeah.
not to box back down at featherweight? Sorry, or
Well, you know what? I did think that. I thought, that's what they're probably going to say. But then I was told that Leo has said to the WBA that he'll definitely fight this winter a featherweight, and then he'll fight the winner of me and because
Leigh?
it was just what I mean. Leigh. I was because Leo. I was going. Is it Leo? Is it Leo? I don't know what way I was going to say it, but me and Leigh. So yeah, I think there's a high possibility, and I'll be a fight I would relish as well. Leo Santa Cruz, such a big name, known all over the world, especially in Ireland due to Carl Frampton. No, especially here in Ireland because he resembles my brother very much, and yeah, it's one that would be fantastic. I think for all of us, and the three parties involved would be very very keen to match up. I'm very very interested in those fights. So I'll go and handle the business with Leigh, and I think it'll be a great fight. But I believe I'll be victorious, and then move on to whatever is next. Whether it's a rematch, because he'll be the champion, he'll probably have a rematch clause. I'll give him his rematch clause if that's the case, no problem. And then we move on to Leo Santa Cruz if that's the way we're going to work.
Mick, I know you've been keen to crack that world scene for longer than what it's taken to get to it now.
Yeah.
So potentially this next year for you, it's very exciting if you're successful against Leigh, and then if you're successful against Leo, is it difficult not to get too far ahead of yourself because of what could be in store beyond that?
I don't even think too far ahead. I think the task of Leigh Wood is a big enough one to not look past. But yeah, you're right. Listen, the next few years for me could be very very big, or or they couldn't be at the same time. So I just have to keep focused and keep doing what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about what could be different, not to just kind of let yourself slip into a little bit of future thought. And I do the odd time. I'm not gonna lie, I do slip in like this could be like this, that could be like that. But if you just stick to the way you're doing things, you'll probably make those things come true. But if you look too far ahead, you get caught up on the way. So I'm focused on what's ahead, and it's exciting.
Make that featherweight division, certainly you've just look across the UK, some potentially great matchups. So I was going to go back to one last night, which we didn't get to see to the full extent.
Yeah.
Warrington Lara ended, well, Lara Warrington rather, their second bout ending with that technical draw with the cut above Lara's eye, meaning he was unable to continue going into that third round. Just wanted to get your thoughts on it, though. What did you make of the bout for those first two, and obviously the cut?
Yeah, listen, the first two rounds, it looked like it was going to be a very good fight. Josh was obviously trying to kind of keep it a bit more tight and box a bit more, but you could see there when he was landing some shots, he wanted to kind of get involved. And I think it probably would have been a matter of time before he did try to get involved. And, even the shots, I didn't think the commentators were calling the shots that, Lara was landing, because he was landing and you could see red marks around Josh's head. And, I'm honest, I thought from the two rounds, I actually thought Lara was going to win it. I thought Josh won the first round, yes, but he had to do an awful lot just to win that first, and he was uh he was getting chipped at the same time. So I think Lara probably would have won in my opinion, but who knows? We'll never know now. It was unfortunate. What a fucking bad cut! That haven't seen a cut like that in a long time, and it was the full length of the eyebrow, open like a fish's mouth, and that'll take a bit of time to recover. I would say Josh will probably box once before he fights Lara again.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you think Josh will want to have that trilogy for, or do you think he will now be steered away from that to a different path to try and get back onto, world honors?
I think if he wants to kind of erase that memory from his head. He needs to have it for himself. But I think, depending on how he felt deep down, is what you'll know what will happen next. If he felt deep down that, listen, that guy could fucking still punch like a mule, and that was going to be a hard night for me. This could be, a way just I can just go, right, listen, let's move on. That could probably happen, and it wouldn't surprise me if it did happen. Josh is still a massive name. What happened. He's had the rematch and sent in a no contest. So he's not really in a bad position now. He's not in the position he was in. He stepped in the ring, although no contest, he was still back in that ring, ready to kind of rewrite that wrong. And I think that he could move on and fight another big name right away. But I think the likes of your kid Galahad and stuff, kid will probably demand him face Lara before he faces him again, playing the game like Josh wouldn't fight him. So and that's just the way it is. And I think if he's going to be shrewd about it, he could do that. And depending if he wants to fight Josh again or not, is what he'll do, I think.
And Mick, the unfortunate case for Maurizio Lara, if he wasn't to rematch Josh again, if he couldn't get that fight, does he then fall into that so-called who needs them club? We've seen him obviously shock Josh and shock the world back in February.
Yep.
Unfortunately, wasn't able to get through this fight for the second time. Without a belt behind him, how difficult will it be for him to get a big opportunity beyond this?
Without a belt, without a promoter, I think it's massive. It's a massive kick in the goalies for him if he doesn't get the third fight, because he will fall into that who needs him club. And unless the likes of Top Rank or someone sign him up and can do something with him there, I would find I would see it hard to see him on these shores again, because he is a dangerous opponent for any fighter.
Just a final topic I wanted to get your thoughts on, Mick. It's not your weight, but it's only the weight above you. We heard the recent news of Oscar Valdez. He's positive A and B samples for a banned drug. Just wanted to get your take on his failed test and also kind of the fallout from it and what's happened since and what's been spoken about.
So this is the thing. Like, I trained with Oscar, and I know how hard he trains, and I know how good of a person he is, and how straight of a person he is. So intentionally, I wouldn't say he's done it purposely. I honestly wouldn't, because I know what he's like. I consider him a friend, but I felt the need. I had to kind of speak up for the for boxing itself, because as an amateur, I was tested hundreds of times. As a pro, not so much, but still, as an amateur, if you failed for taking, just say you had a sore head and took Nurofen Plus and you were in competition, that's a fail, because you're not meant to take Nurofen Plus, because it is a stimulant. And listen, it might not seem like it does, what steroids or anything or the performance enhanced drugs do for you, but it's something that could be an advantage in some sort of way. I don't know how, but you have to know what everything you're putting into your body, or everything you're drinking, everything you're eating. So the fact that Oscar has probably done this unintentionally with a herbal tea or something and hasn't checked up on him and has failed, he's his fault no matter what. And I don't think, if you're sticking by the rules and stuff, that fight should go ahead. I'm not saying he's done it purposely, or if he has or hasn't, I don't know. I cannot say. I wasn't there when he's done it. I'm not involved in his camp. But if you want to play by the rules and stuff, you have to take the bans and follow the procedures which are in lane. And I know with WADA, the thing he took wasn't on out of competition, but VADA, who he signed up to, it's on out of competition. So if you're signed up for that and you're paying for that yourself, you gotta follow the rules. And the fact that the rules aren't being followed, I think it is a bit of a shambles. Listen, I'm happy for Oscar. He's still getting the fight and stuff, but in terms of boxing and stuff, I think it's terrible for boxing that it's going ahead. I can say I'm happy for Oscar because he's my friend and stuff, but at the same time, if these rules are being bent, how can we say for the health and safety of fighters going forward that they won't be banned again? You know what I mean? I don't know. I've seen Victor Conte and stuff tweet about, what Oscar was taking could do is it is a performance enhancing drug and all this here. And, I know that, from people doping and stuff, I don't know anybody personally, but I do know that it doesn't happen, the night before the fight or the week of the fight or whatever it is. It's people doing it 10, 14 weeks prior to the fight. It's like a cycle kind of thing. And it pisses me off because I'm a fighter and you can die in that ring. And, it's not like we're running the 100-meter sprint. I don't listen. So I would love to see the fastest man in the world. I double up to the eyeballs and let's see how fast someone can actually run. He's not hurting nobody. But when it comes to 1v1 combat, or maybe whatever it is, more combat against each other, you're basically putting that person you're fighting at a higher risk of death. And if they die in the ring, what happens? What happens to the guy who was doping if he ever gets caught, or if he doesn't get caught, if he does or does not? If he gets caught, I believe they should be done with attempted murder. So, like, do you really want to risk that type of shit? It won't happen. But I think before anything is really done in this sport about doping, someone unfortunately will probably have to die. And that's a terrible thing to say. It's a scary thing to say. I have 2 young kids. I have a family. It's scary to have the thought that, for the rules to be changed and things to be done in this sport, someone might have to lose their life.
It's very strong words there, Mick, particularly towards the end. And just the final one, then, just to go off it, as you mentioned, it's very scary to think of. And I can, as a fighter yourself, I can only really imagine what goes through your mind. And as you mentioned, with a young family. So when you look at your career now, does it play in the back of your mind that you do want to kind of get in and get out?
I've always said I'd get in and get out. I've always said the boxing. I'm not going to be one of these characters that hangs around sport too long. I'll get in and do what I do, earn my money, and I'll probably be out of boxing in the next 3.5, 4 years, probably less if I can. If I earn enough, I'll get the fuck out. But I know that there's a cap. I have an age cap in my head, but I'm saying that's me done, and I've said that to my family, said that to my coach and everything. So when it comes to that time, I've said if I'm trying to stop boxing, tell me to stop it. Make me stop. It's not something I'll be wanting to do at that stage. There's more to life than boxing. People think the boxing is life, but there's not. There's much more to life than taking blows or fortunate enough for me, my style isn't about taking blows. But yeah, it's a dangerous game. I love it with all my heart, and I know probably you feel lost about it at some stages, but that's where you need to have the contingency plans in for a long time, and I've already done that. But yeah, I know it's hard for people to get away from, but I think you need to get it when you have everything intact. I think it was Andy Crawler say before, you can love boxing all you want, it will never love you back, and that's the truth. You know what I mean? So you got to make sure that you get in and get out with everything intact, and if you're fortunate enough to do that, you've won.
Right, Mick, it is getting on a bit now. It's obviously Sunday night. It's about 20 past 8. So I'm going to leave you to enjoy the rest of what's left tonight and obviously go and be with your family. I appreciate you giving up some time, though. So thank you for speaking to Boxing Social, and I look forward to
No
catching up
worries,
again
Andi.
soon.
Take care, mate. All the best.
Top man. Cheers, Mick. Catch you later.
Cheers, mate. See you. Bye.